All right, guys. I don't really have too much of a subject to talk about, but there was a conversation going on with the group of us about what program do you use for like photo editing, and some people were saying Photoshop, but then David from Adventures with David was saying that if you read the terms and agreement with Photoshop, if you use any of the AI on there, then it becomes Adobe's property, not yours. So I did tell him something like that, but I wasn't sure the specifics. So I got him to read the terms and conditions, and yeah, he found it. So he's using a different service and program for doing his thumbnails. Me personally, I use Affinity Photo for my editing, and at the time that I bought it, it was about $50, but now it's about $70. But I mean, it's only like, I can't really say it's a one-time, but you do pay your $70 for the program, and then like if they upgrade it to another version, let's say like right now they're on 2.62, I think. And when they go to version 3, then they'll ask you for like a small fee to upgrade, which isn't bad, believe it or not, compared to, Photoshop. God, when you bought it outright, I think it was like $300-400 for the program. That was way back when too, before it became a subscription service, which I think with the subscription service, I think the Photoshop by itself, I think is about $19 or something like that a month. But that's still too expensive. You shouldn't be paying that amount for what you get from Photoshop. So I'm sorry. I don't want to say I'm not too big on subscriptions, because I do have a couple of subscriptions that I have. Like one of them being Catalyst Prepare. That's the program that processes Sony files to get my stabilization. But I haven't been using my Sony cameras for a while. I've been mostly using Panasonic because the stabilization on these cameras are incredible, and I only have it halfway up. I don't have it to its full extent of the stabilization, because when you do that, you get a little bit of a crop. And I'm trying my best not to get too much of a crop, because I like to count on whatever my lenses provide, or how far I should extend my arm with the camera. So I just put it on the basic stuff, and from my experience, it's come out not too bad. So but I think with this, I think I should go over like the stuff that I use to make YouTube videos. I'll just brush by like the gear, but like the programming for my editing, I use DaVinci Resolve. And but when I first started out, I was going to use this other programs like the Ultimate Video Editor. Can't remember the manufacturer, but it would have been like you drop your clips there and rearrange it and stuff. It would have been like a simple program. That one's like $40, I think. But I went instead with Vegas Pro. I think at the time was 16. Only because I felt like I was getting like a professional style editor that would bring me one step closer to DaVinci, because that was my ultimate goal, was to go to DaVinci. And because that's like a professional editor that even Hollywood uses, and that was like kind of my goal: get used to editing and try to get as professional as I can with it, and maybe actually change careers yet again. But yeah, it's the editing part's not going very well, because I didn't take the time to like learn. I just did the basics to whatever I can get by with YouTube. But eventually I went from Vegas Pro, learned off of that, and then what I did was I tried out Premiere Pro from Adobe, because I was noticing like when you had your microphone and everything off some of the other YouTubers, like they were able to get rid of some of the background noise, and I just couldn't figure out how they were doing it. But I know these people were using Premiere Pro, so I decided to try it out, and oh man, that program is non-intuitive. It's not intuitive at all. I would spend at least 30 minutes at a time searching for the most basic stuff for transitions. And then once I found it, then I put the transition in, dropped it. I would go back and look, and what I just used as a transition was gone. I'm like, oh, come on. I had to go searching for it yet again just to use it again. And I got really annoyed with it. So I went ahead and I downloaded the free copy of DaVinci Resolve. And I think at that time it was DaVinci Resolve 16, I believe. So as soon as I popped that in and looked at it, I mean, it was very intuitive. You could figure it out on your own without really, having instructions to it. And every time I used a transition, I would look over and go, well, there it is again. I could use it. And it would just make everything very easy. And if there was something I needed it to do, I found it really quick within 5 minutes. So, I mean, I don't know everything on DaVinci Resolve. I probably know about 5% of the program. This thing's massive, but I wanted to learn color grading and all that. So what I did was, there was a peripheral that I wanted to buy that would help speed up my editing. I just don't have room on my desk to put it on, or I would use it. And when I bought that piece of hardware, the studio version of DaVinci Resolve came with it for free. And at that time, it was like a $300 program. So basically, I got 2 items for the price of 1. And they have lifetime updates. Now I understand that might change, because when DaVinci Resolve version 20 comes out, they're going to come out with some AI stuff. Even though they said they would never charge for the upgrade because they hate subscriptions, at least that's what they're saying, but they're talking about that they might have to do that. I guess AI is costing companies money. I don't know if it's the research for it or what, but it's kind of a shame that that's happening. But it's all right. I mean, you don't have to upgrade. You can just stay where you're at. But the only problem is when they come out with new cameras and, or new things to the firmware, then there's a possibility that DaVinci Resolve probably won't work with that particular camera or software. So you're kind of stuck having to upgrade. But we never had to worry about it before because it was a free upgrade. Who cares? It's free, right? They make their money off cameras and peripherals and stuff to make your editing really easy and stuff. So, but yeah, that's the program I use. And then when I was talking to the boys, we're talking about what photo editor. I use Affinity, AFFINITY photo. There's also Illustrator and what's the other one? I don't know, there's 3 of them, but God, I can't remember the other one. Anyway, when I bought into it, when they first released it, like 5-6 years ago, it was about a $50 program. I'm like, great, and they provided the updates and everything. And, it's not really lifetime, but it is where, it just seems like it's lifetime because it would give you updates, but I didn't see anything where you had to pay for it yet until they got to version 2. Then they asked for a paid upgrade so you can go to version 2. You could stay with version 1 if you wanted to. You didn't have to upgrade, but you would miss out on the quote unquote, the new stuff and whatever. So I went ahead and I paid the fee. I think I paid $60 to upgrade all 3 programs, so it's like $20 a piece. And that was the only time I had to pay for an upgrade so far because we're still on version 2. And like I said, I think it's on version 2.62 right now. And it looks like Photoshop, like the old version of Photoshop. Doesn't look like the new stuff. The new stuff of Photoshop, when I looked at it, I went, oh God. It's like all the options, they seem like they were gone, but I hate when they do that. I like it when you have like all your choices and on this program, on Affinity Photo, you can customize all your stuff to make it your like desktop and stuff like that. So I really appreciate it. And then that's what I've been using to make my thumbnails. I don't go very extravagant because what I do is I take a still out of what I just filmed and I use that for my thumbnail, and then I put whatever graphic or whatever, like I'll put the Knott's Berry Farm or Disneyland on there, superimpose it on there. I mean, I can get really detailed and stuff, but it's just like a lot of times I'm just so tired of doing the editing by the time I get to the thumbnail, which is probably the most important part of your video, is to have a nice thumbnail. I just poo-poo it and just put whatever up there. But I'm sure if I got really good at making the thumbnails, and I'd probably get more views, but oh well. Anyway, so that's what I use for that. As far as equipment goes, on cameras, I use both Sony and Panasonic. Now with Sony, what's interesting about Sony is they have like gyro data. So what I do is I turn off all stabilization. I don't use stabilization at all when I use Sony. So when I'm done with filming, I process all those clips into Catalyst Prepare. Now there's two different programs. There's Catalyst Browse, which is the free version, but you can only do one clip at a time. Or there's Catalyst Prepare, where you can batch prepare the footage. And what I do is I put it at about 0.5% of a crop, and then it processes it, and then it stabilizes the video. I still have to make sure that I don't get all wild with the camera and everything, because you'd have to crop in further to smooth it out, which it gives you that option. You can do that. But it just took such a long time to process it. It was just frustrating. I would spend, God, if it was like 30 minutes worth of video, I think I'd spend at least 4 hours processing all that stuff, so I'd always be behind in getting my stuff all prepared. Well, I upgraded my computer and my video card. That video card I have is massive. It handles a lot of shit. It handles a lot. So when I do process, it takes about less than an hour, even at 30 minutes. And I'm like, wow, that's quick. And then also upgraded the CPU and the memory, and I had to upgrade to a new motherboard, because prior to the graphics card, I had an old motherboard and chipset and stuff, but I finally had to upgrade it because it wasn't going fast enough for me. And now the thing's a speed demon. It'll take a 40-minute clip and process it in 5 minutes on DaVinci Resolve, so that's no problem. It's just the uploading part to YouTube. It takes forever because for some reason, I have cable internet and it doesn't want to go faster than 25 megabytes per second. Even though I'm getting 600 megabytes to download per second, I don't get that. It should be ratioed, at least give me 100 megabytes per second. At least that'll be tolerable. But anyway, I digress. So I can process all that, so that means when I process my Sony clips, it's fast. It probably, like I said, it takes like an hour to process all those clips. And there have been times when I've messed up on my settings, and I'm like, oh no, I got to figure this out. I can reprocess doing a different. I can change some of the filters on it, and then I can finally get something that's tolerable that I can work with, only because I messed up with the settings. And that saved my bacon several times with using the Sony product. So, tall guy, if you're listening, yeah, your Sony camera can do a lot more than you think. You haven't touched the surface of that particular camera, even though it's 8-bit. That 8-bit was so easy to color grade. I loved it. That's why it just, when you asked me if you could buy that camera, I was just like, I really didn't want to let it go because of the ease of it, but I knew you were in need, so that's why I let it go. It's just, the needs of the few gives you the needs of the many, which is, your viewers and your community needed you, and you needed a camera, so I gave it up for that. So I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything. It was just, I really love the way you could process that. And if we get together, I'll tell you, what your settings should be on there. But the other thing is, the Sony stuff. You cannot use your editor to stabilize your clips, because when you do that, you get this tapestry effect. looks like a wavy flag, like you have you're seeing a movie on a screen in the wind. That's what it looks like. You have to use that catalyst browse to make it look like you're on a gimbal. You have to. You cannot use that stabilize. I could tell, like, each clip, I go, yep, he used the editor to stabilize that. Yep, he used the editor to stabilize that. I'm sorry. I noticed these things. I haven't said anything in your videos because I'm trying to, like, tone down my criticism, and I don't want to, like, I just don't want to be a bother in how you do things, And it's the tapestry waving on your videos, dude, don't look that bad. It's hard to catch, but I catch it every once in a while. But I just go, well, you got to process. It's like, give it a try. Just give the Catalyst browse a try, and you'll notice the difference. It's just, you get a little crop. You can get a little crop, like from, say, like here. This is how you film it. You can probably get it to about here. And it just looks smooth as butter. It just looks nice. You'll be impressed with it. But anyway, I know you asked me about settings of a camera, but the way the sky has been looking today, I thought it was going to rain. I was going to have a setup all out where I just have my camera and show you how to do the settings, on there. So if on that camera, there's a mode button on there. You press that, probably go to shutter priority, change your shutter. If it's nice and sunny, you can probably go to 125 on the shutter speed, 1/125th of a second on the shutter speed. And you can use that in any setting, daylight, or when you walk into a building to do merch that has some light. You won't be able to use it like when you do, let's say, like the haunts and stuff like that. You got to let the camera adjust automatically. The unfortunate part is you'll get some weird, like how the movement goes, because the shutter speed will drop below 50 to try to light it up. But anyway, we can talk about that later. And then also what you might want to do, I'm pretty sure you don't do it because you have to have something that's going to protect your lens, because your lens costs you a lot of money. So what I do is I put one of these on here. This is like lens filters. Okay, so like this one's a kit that comes with a CV lens, or no, not lens, a CV filter, and also a CPL filter. And the CPL filter is a polarized filter. Okay, so we'll start with the UV. The UV filter is basically clear, but it takes away some of the UV rays, so actually you get a clearer picture. Let me take out this box again because I didn't go over the manufacturer. The manufacturer I get is K&F Concept. And I get the Nano X series because the type of glass they use is either a German shot, SHOTT, or Japanese shot. Those are supposed to be like the top quality glass that you can use. And when you put that filter on there, it just seems to enhance the picture even more. It makes it a little bit crisper. Okay, not digital crisp, but more clarity out of it. And what it does is it takes out some of the UV rays that will kind of blur the picture. And also with the UV filter, it'll protect your lens. So if a rock comes and hits your lens and it hits it right in the glass, it'll take it out on that, let's say, $50 filter than your $500 lens. Because once it cracks the glass on the lens, your lens is trash and you got to pay another $500. But if it hits the filter, you just got to replace the filter and it's just $50. I know how often does that happen? You never know. Now, the CPL filter is also called a polarized filter. What that does is it takes out some of the blue light and you get crisp colors. I mean, your colors will pop a lot. And you don't have to worry about even color grading. You don't have to worry about, some of the lighting, because when you're bright light, it just makes everything come out crisp. There's one video that he did. I actually had a polarizer filter on there. I think it was a peanut celebration. The thumbnail is I'm holding like a hot dog that I got from Fiesta Dog at the time, and I'm sitting in front of Jaguar. So if you see that thumbnail, that I used the polarizer filter on. I'll include it in the description below, so you can just click on it. But what it also does is, like the reflections off water, it cuts it down so you can actually see through the water. So if there's fish in there, you know how you're looking at the fish, but the sun's above and all you see is the light, the glare of the light, it takes the glare away. Also, when you're shooting through a window, because there's something that you want to see, it'll cut down on the glare so you can actually see what's behind the glass, instead of you're trying to move the camera at an angle so you're not getting that reflection. It'll cut down on that, and that's what the CPL filter or the polarizer filter will do for you. And that way you don't really have to mess with settings. The only problem with the polarizer filter is you can't use it inside because it'll be too dark. That's the only problem. So like let's say Ghost Town Alive, that's summer, sunny, use that CPL filter on there, and you'll be amazed at the quality. And you don't have to really do anything. You don't really have to know, your settings and stuff like that on the camera. But you just, like, if you walk inside a building to do like a merch search, you got to take it off because it'll be too dark. So you may want to get something that's magnetic, so you can pop it off real quick when you walk inside as you like do that transition. The best person that does uses a polarizer or CPL, Magic Journeys. You see him every once in a while. He'll pop off that filter when they walk inside. That's the polarized filter, and he gets great colors off of his camera. So that'll be an option for you. I think I actually was using the ZVE 10 camera at that time that I did that one video. I used the CPL. But yeah, wow, I just noticed I'm at 22 minutes on this. It's like, I wanted to keep it a little short, but I got carried away. But apparently you guys seem to like that. But yeah, that I would recommend you getting filtered and trying to mess with the camera settings. I think you might be a little bit happier because it's a little more instant, a little more gratifying than you sit there and you look at the sun and you have to make all these adjustments, and then you got to keep adjusting it. The CPL, you put that on, it basically stays the same, and your camera will still adjust, but it's adjusting to the CPL. I will I'll show you an example of what I mean in this. So and I'll superimpose it over this while I'm talking about it, and that way you can see what the difference is of the CPL and non-CPL. But I don't know if it'll come out because it's kind of cloudy today, but we'll see. All right then, I think I talked enough about what programs I use for my videos and the cameras. Which ones are my favorite cameras? Right now it's Panasonic. I love my Sonys. I do. I really do. But they don't have the stabilization that Panasonic has. And it's sort of like time is money type thing. So as soon as I film it, it's already stabilized right out of the camera. Whereas a Sony, I got to process it. I mean, I get a smoother video out of the Sonys using Catalyst Prepare. It's smoother, bar none. Looks better, but if you want to run and gun and you need stuff right away, Panasonic. The colors, the color richness is a lot better than the Sony right now. I mean, the camera I'm using right now is a GH7. This thing, the color on it, I can make this thing pop very easily. So easy. I love it. I usually grab this one or the new one I got, which is the S1R2. The color fidelity on that is incredible. That's the only reason why I bought that camera. I wasn't going to buy it because it has a overheating problem, and nice and windy. That heating problem can disrupt your whole day if you don't know how to manage it. And like weather like this, it would be perfect. You can probably film all day with it, not a problem. I had this little sound module on top of it that goes with it, so I can get 32-bit float on it, so I can play with the volume or whatever. I was just messing with it, and it caused my camera to overheat in 8 minutes and shut down. It shut down in 8 minutes and 39 seconds. And on top of that, with the CF Express card Type B that's in there also, it caused it to heat up too, because that thing was spinning so fast. There was a lot of heat. The battery created heat. There was so much heat going into that camera, it just shut down. 8 minutes and 39 seconds. That's not good, Panasonic. It's not good. So you have to do workarounds, which you shouldn't have to, but you do if you want to keep working with that camera and having that color fidelity. I mean, the green, like off these bushes here, that thing just popped. The color on my shirt just popped. It looked almost like 3D. And I'm using a kit lens. A kit lens. I can imagine if I used their S-series lens, which I do have. I have one. I haven't used it yet, just because I like the distance that I put my that I have my arm at for when I'm doing the headshots like this. And it's just, they're incredible cameras. Sony, I like them. They're workhorses. You do have to mess with them a little bit, and the stabilizations in them suck. I'm sorry. Compared to Panasonic, it sucks. So that's why I do no stabilization. I try to make sure that I hold the camera as still as possible, walk like a ninja, and then I process it through catalyst repair. That's the only way I can do it, to get that smooth gimbal-like coverage. And then one last thing about Panasonic is their audio that nobody, I think only one content creator out of everything that I've watched about Panasonic mentioned this one thing. There's a limiter in the audio that's built into the camera. So the audio will never clip. Let me repeat that. The audio will never clip. I don't even worry about the settings on this thing. I just plug in my microphone and go. It'll never clip. I mean, no other camera has that. Sony has that when you use their proprietary microphones that plug into the M1 and the hot shoe. They're the only other ones, but you have to buy their microphones. Panasonic, I can use any microphone I want and it'll never clip. Boom. I mean, you want something simple? That's it. And the other thing, if you guys know what shutter angle is, it's not shutter speed, it's shutter angle. And the best description that everybody has been giving is, imagine an umbrella spinning. Okay, so if you take chunks out of it like a pie, those are considered the angles. So you can take a 90 angle spot out of the umbrella and spin it, and that's like every 90 degrees, like light will shine through on the sensor. Okay, so my setting right now is I have it on 180 degrees, so that means that's 360 in half. So half that umbrella is covering the sensor when it goes around. Okay, and it reduces light flicker. So when I use this camera to do Scary Farm, you know how sometimes we'll have like objects or something, you see that flickering of the light? It cuts it down to where you can barely see it flicker at all. You might see a little bit of banding, but like the Sony cameras, when you use the shutter speed on there, you see the lights flicker and you see banding. It's just like lines, like Venetian blinds going across some of the lighting, and it just looks horrible. And you can adjust it by setting the shutter speed like little micro increments until you get rid of the flickering and the banding. But you got to stay there in one spot to do that. Shutter speed or shutter angle You don't have to do that. It takes it out automatically. Um, yeah. So that's why I'm kind of favoring Panasonic a little bit. Sorry. I love my Sonys, but dang. But I have to go back out and shoot with my Sonys. I'm neglecting them. And plus, since I have that subscription to Catalyst Prepare, it's sort of like a waste of money if I don't use my Sonys every once in a while. Yeah, Sony has the best autofocus. Panasonic, the autofocus is iffy. So sometimes you'll see it'll just it go out of focus every once in a while. Doesn't have the best autofocus, but it's doable. But if you want spot on focusing, Sony. I'm sorry. Sony is the king of focusing. Canon, I like their autofocus, but the thing I don't like about Canon is their lens prices. I'm sorry, you're going to make me only buy Canon lenses, and they're you want to get a good fast lens for night shots and all around usability, it's over $2,000 for the lens. The lens, that doesn't include the camera. If you want a good camera, you're talking about another $2,000. I'm like, oh, hell no. Hell no. It's too much money. I'm sorry. So if you want low light capabilities, you have to go with full frame. If you don't care about low light, you're not going to use low light, you can go the APS-C. You could do that and you'll get great shots, great pictures. But the camera I'm using right now, it's Micro Four Thirds. How's it doing low light? I don't know yet. It's not hunt season yet. I'm kind of anxious to take it out, but it does great in the stores. When you have the settings correctly, it does great. I'll show that. I'll show you the difference with when I had the settings wrong at Food and Wine. I still have to release those. I'm sorry. I'm bad at that. But it's another thing. I do apologize for you guys. I know you're going to see this a week later when I film it, but I do apologize for not responding to you guys right away. It's sort of like I have to make a choice between responding to everybody or continue doing the daily vlogs, because I have to watch each one that I do. Like this one's at 32 minutes right now. I have to watch it to make sure there's no real mistakes, or I don't have some weird thing going on that I might have to edit out, or maybe I said something wrong and I'm like, oh no, I got to take it out, or I got to add a title to it to kind of correct myself if I said anything wrong. But the longer I go, the longer it takes me to do it. So, but anyway, guys, I'm sure you had enough of me in talking about, software and camera gear. I really do enjoy all that stuff. I can talk forever on it, and you can tell. I love my stuff. I'm sorry, but the other thing is does the editing software, does the photo software, does the camera really make the quality of the video? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. You can take a phone and do quality work, and as long as you've got a great presence in front of that phone, you can come out with some good stuff. Go to my friend the Crash Zero. All he uses is an iPhone to record everything, and he's been doing all formats: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Let's see, what else do you use, dude? I think you're on Twitch. He does lives with his phone. He doesn't use a camera at all. He just uses his phone. So when I do see him with the camera, I look at him kind of funny. I go, really, dude? He goes, yeah, I know. But everything he does on there is with the phone, and it looks good. I'm not sure what editor he uses. I think he says he uses DaVinci, but he might use something else, maybe CapCut or something like that. I don't know. But he does good. It's not about the equipment, it's about the person that's using that equipment that makes the video. It's like me, I get caught up in the gear. That's what I like to do. So I just got to slow it down, put on the brakes, and then, just concentrate on creating and just do that. But, all right, guys, well, thank you for Finally got tongue-tied after 34 minutes. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you. I will get to those comments after I film this. I do have to prepare the barbecue. I got to feed the dogs, but once I do that, I'll get on all those comments and then answer them. So you'll already notice that. But that's why it's sort of like I come home and eat dinner, and then I got to go. Okay, so like let me see what I'm gonna do, and then sometimes I get to those comments are a little daunting. So I'll go ahead and I'll get to them. I don't want to fall too far behind because you guys ask lengthy questions. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you. Until the next time I take you to my next day vlog. All right, guys. Have a good one.